Do you know what the dirtiest places on an airplane are? It's a question that might make you squirm in your seat, especially if you're listening to this while on a flight. But don't worry, we're not here to scare you, just enlighten you. You see, an airplane is like a bustling city in the sky with hundreds of passengers coming and going. And just like any city, it has its dirty corners. We're not just talking about the lavatories. Oh no, the unseen filth is everywhere. Prepare yourself because we're about to take a deep dive into the dirtiest places on an airplane. You may think the lavatory is the dirtiest, but you'd be surprised. It's a common belief, right? But the truth is, there are places on an airplane that are far dirtier than the lavatory, and they are not where you'd expect. Consider the flight brochures, those glossy pages that tell you about the exciting destinations you could be flying to, or the latest blockbuster movies you can watch on your flight. We all love flipping through them, but did you know that these brochures are one of the most germ-ridden spots on a flight? It's true, they are touched by numerous passengers and rarely, if ever, cleaned. Then there are the help buttons, those little buttons above your seat that you press when you need assistance. They are another hotspot for germs. Just think about it. How often do you see them being wiped down? Probably never, right? Yet they are pressed by countless fingers, many of which may not be as clean as you'd hope. And let's not forget about the seat back trays. These versatile surfaces serve as dining tables, work desks, and even baby-changing stations. As a result, they become breeding grounds for all sorts of microbes, from bacteria to viruses. So, the next time you're having a meal on your flight, remember that your tray table could be a lot dirtier than the meal itself. Why are these places so dirty? It's simple. Airplanes are public spaces, and like any public space, they are full of germs. Plus, the quick turnaround times between flights mean that there's often not enough time to clean every surface thoroughly. So the next time you're on a flight, think twice before you flip through that brochure or press that help button, and maybe, just maybe, consider bringing some disinfectant wipes with you. After all, it's better to be safe than sorry. Air vents, the unseen culprits right above your head. These overlooked components, often seen as harmless, are in fact teeming with the invisible menace of bacteria and viruses. As they blow cool, seemingly fresh air into the cabin, they also distribute tiny particles of dust, dirt, and microbes. Unseen to the naked eye, this microscopic ecosystem can potentially host a variety of pathogens. The same can be said for seatbelt buckles. These metal clasps, handled by countless hands on countless journeys, carry an unseen history of germs. Each click of the buckle is a potential handshake with a multitude of bacteria. And let's not forget the fabric part of the belt itself, a comfortable home for dust mites and other allergens. But what does this mean for you, the unsuspecting traveler? First, it's important to understand the potential health implications. Exposure to these microbes can lead to a range of illnesses, from the common cold to more serious respiratory infections, and while the risk is relatively low for most people, it can be higher for those with weakened immune systems or respiratory conditions. So, what can you do to protect yourself? Well, it's not about avoiding air travel altogether, but rather being mindful of these hidden hazards. Simple measures can make a big difference. For instance, using a hand sanitizer after fastening your seatbelt or wiping down the air vent with a disinfectant wipe can significantly reduce your exposure to these invisible threats. Air travel has opened up the world for us, allowing us to explore far-flung corners of the globe with relative ease. It's about understanding that with these incredible opportunities come certain risks, however small they may be, and it's about empowering you to take control of your health, even at 35,000 feet in the air. So next time you buckle up for a flight, remember the invisible menace, and take those simple steps to keep yourself safe and healthy. Ever wonder about the cleanliness of headrests and blankets? Let's dive in and explore the grimy truth that lies beneath the surface of these comfort items. The headrests and blankets on airplanes are designed to offer you comfort during your flight. But how often are they actually cleaned? The answer might surprise you. While airlines do have cleaning schedules, the frequency varies greatly. Some airlines clean their headrests and blankets after every flight, while others only do so after a certain number of flights or when visibly dirty. This inconsistency could mean your seat's headrest or blanket might have been used by multiple passengers before you, each leaving behind their own unique set of germs. What types of germs might you ask? Well, studies have shown that these comfort items can harbor a variety of bacteria. Staphylococcus, a bacteria responsible for a range of conditions from minor skin infections to serious diseases like pneumonia and meningitis, has been found on headrests and blankets. Other bacteria, including E. coli, known for causing food poisoning and urinary tract infections, have also been discovered. It's not just bacteria that are the culprits here. Viruses, including the common cold and flu, can survive on these surfaces for hours, waiting for their next host. Not to mention, microscopic fungi and dust mites also find these cozy items to be an ideal home. But don't worry, there's no need to panic. While these findings may make you squirm a bit, it's important to remember that most germs we encounter daily are harmless. Our bodies are designed to fight off these invaders, and they do a pretty good job most of the time. However, if you're someone with a weakened immune system, or just a germaphobe, you might want to consider bringing your own travel blanket or headrest cover. The seat's back pocket, a convenient storage, or a germ factory. It's easy to overlook this little nook, but it's a silent player in the game of airplane grime. Let's think about what usually ends up in there. You've got the in-flight magazines, safety cards, perhaps a few napkins, and who knows what else from previous passengers. Each item, a potential carrier of unseen microbes. In-flight magazines and safety cards, handled by countless hands, become a breeding ground for bacteria. Napkins, used to wipe mouths or even noses, introduce a whole new level of contamination. And the random items left behind by previous passengers, they add an unpredictable element to the mix. So, the next time you travel, remember this little pocket of surprises. While it may seem like a handy spot for your book or snack, it's also a haven for germs. Perhaps it's not the best place to store your snacks after all. Touchscreens, lavatory flush buttons, tap water, tea, and coffee, are they as clean as you think? Now let's delve into the hidden world of microbes that reside on the surfaces we touch and the consumables we take for granted. Picture this. You're on a long-haul flight, you've just settled into your seat, and you're ready to dive into the latest blockbuster on the in-flight entertainment system. But have you ever stopped to think about the number of fingers that have danced across that touchscreen before yours? Microbiologists have found that these touchscreens can harbor a cornucopia of bacteria and viruses, from the common cold to more serious pathogens. And it's not just the touchscreens. Lavatory flush buttons, too, are teeming with invisible inhabitants. But what about the consumables we take for granted? The tap water, the hot tea, and coffee served. Here's a little-known fact. Airplane water tanks aren't cleaned as frequently as you'd hope. This means that the tap water, and consequently the hot beverages made from it, can contain a variety of bacteria, including E. coli, a bacterium that can cause food poisoning. So, what does this mean for your health? Well, a healthy immune system can usually fend off these invaders without you even noticing. But for those with weaker immune systems, such as the elderly, young children, or people with chronic illnesses, these bacteria and viruses could potentially lead to health complications. Understanding the potential risks doesn't mean you need to avoid touchscreens or stop drinking your favorite in-flight tea. It's about being aware and taking simple precautions, like using a hand sanitizer after touching these surfaces, or opting for bottled water instead of tap. Sometimes what you can't see can indeed hurt you. But armed with this knowledge, you can now navigate the skies with a little more peace of mind, knowing you're doing your best to stay healthy while enjoying your journey. Now that you know the dirtiest places, how can you protect yourself? The answer lies in a few simple yet effective measures that can be your shield against the unseen filth. First, let's talk about hand sanitizers. These are your best friends when traveling. They can eliminate a majority of germs and can be used frequently. Opt for a sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol content for maximum effectiveness. Apply it before eating, after using the restroom, and after touching common surfaces such as door handles or seatbelt buckles. Second, consider bringing your own blanket or travel pillow. The ones provided on the plane might not be as freshly laundered as you'd like. Plus, having your own adds a personal touch to your travel comfort. Next, avoid the seatback tray like the plague. It's a hotbed for bacteria, so it's best to steer clear. If you must use it, sanitize it first with a disinfectant wipe. The same goes for the touchscreen, air vents, and any other frequently touched areas. Another crucial tip is to stay hydrated, but do so wisely. It's best to avoid tap water, tea, and coffee on the plane, as they might not be as clean as you'd hope. Instead, opt for bottled water, or bring your own refillable bottle. And lastly, the lavatory. Yes, it's a necessary evil, but you can still protect yourself. Use a paper towel or tissue to touch the door latch and flush button. And don't forget to sanitize your hands afterward. Remember, it's not about becoming a germaphobe, but more about being a savvy traveler. These tips are not just for airplanes, but for any public space where germs are likely to be lurking. So there you have it. your cleanliness checklist for the next time you board a flight. Keep these tips in mind, and you'll have a much cleaner, healthier travel experience. Until next time, safe travels.